Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop a like, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So as you all currently know, Daniel James is our first signing, obviously our first signing under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. So obviously now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will want to build on that, and he'll want to bring another 4 or 5 players to Manchester United this summer, because initially he wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the squad. Obviously, he wants to fulfill them areas where he thinks Manchester United, of course, are lacking. But like I said, the spending speed is around £200 million, or is it £250 million? Obviously, that should be enough for us to get about 5 players on the board, depending on how we are with our recruitment this summer. But we've got to get the right recruitment this summer. Obviously, analysing our recruitment policy is very, very poor. Quite a few people said, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, because there's a lot of players that are available for a reasonable figure on our agenda. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is aware of the deficiencies in the squad, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has worked out his transfer strategy for this summer. He wants to recommend a number of young players to come in that can grow, develop and emulate into superstars, and he also wants to recruit British talents this summer, because he showed an interest in quite a few British players. But as you all do currently know, another problem with Manchester United, we have let far too many players' contracts run down. Obviously, that's been another issue, but there has been some positive news that's been coming out about Juan Mata, quite recently, saying that reportedly Manchester United have offered him a new contract. Reportedly, it still remains uncertain whether Juan Mata is willing to accept this contract offer or not, because obviously he's only got 3 weeks left on his existing deal with Manchester United. I think we have been in talks for quite a while of trying to get Juan Mata a new contract extension. I don't think we'll be willing to offer him a long-term contract, reflecting on his age. He's 31 years of age now, is Juan Mata. But essentially, I'd love him to stay at Manchester United at least for another year, because I think he's been very consistent for us. Obviously, we do know now that Juan Mata doesn't even initially get in the squad. Obviously, he has been at Manchester United 5 years. I think he's made about 218 appearances in all competitions and scored about 45 goals. Obviously, he's been here since the David Moyes era. I think Newcastle have expressed their interest in Juan Mata. Obviously, I think Rafael Benitez is keen on reuniting with Juan Mata. Obviously, Juan Mata played under Rafael Benitez when he was obviously during his time with Chelsea. Juan Mata played under Rafael Benitez, but I don't know if Juan Mata would be keen on making the move to Newcastle. Obviously, Barcelona have been in talks of getting Juan Mata on a free transfer, so maybe Juan Mata, could make the return back to Spain, because obviously he's Spanish, had a lot of experience playing in Spain when he was younger. Obviously, began his career with Real Madrid. Obviously, had 4 years with Valencia under Unai Emery, of course. So there's a possibility chance now that Juan Mata, could stay at the football club, and he actually could, accept these contracts off. Obviously, as well, we have got a release list of around 14 players. Obviously, that's including Ander Herrera. He's on that release list. Obviously, Antonio Valencia is on that release list. So I think it's a release list of around 14 players. Obviously, Juan Mata is not on that release list, because we are looking to get him a new contract, of course. But like I said, he's been at Manchester United 5 years. I think he's obviously been in the Premier League in total of around I think about 7 or 8 years he has been in the Premier League. Obviously, this was including his 2.5 and 3 years he had with Chelsea when he was younger. So yeah, it has been a problem. We have let far too many players contracts run down. Obviously, with Rashford, he's in the final year of his deal. Obviously, we have been in talks of getting Marcus Rashford a new contract. But like I said, I don't think we're orchestrating on selling Marcus Rashford, because obviously we still know he's a long-term solution for Manchester United. He's very young. He's 21 years of age. He's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. And don't get him on, it's going to take him a couple of years, to get him to that level, where he wants to be. He has been inconsistent in the last couple of months as Marcus Rashford, but like I said, he's a long-term solution for Manchester United, so hopefully we can come to an agreement to get him a new contract. Obviously, with De Gea, it's looking very imminent, he's going to be leaving Manchester United, because obviously, he's failed to agree a contract extension. De Gea wants around £350,000 a week. Obviously, Manchester United are not willing to meet his wage demands, but I think for at least now the last year and a half, we've been in negotiations to try to get David De Gea a new contract, but obviously, it hasn't succeeded. So I do believe he's going to be leaving Manchester United. I think now PSG have stepped their interest up in David De Gea, because obviously, PSG are set to lose Buffon. I think it did say before that PSG were willing to put a bid in for him of around £60 million. Obviously, we'd want to cash in for him this summer anyway. It'd be a calamity if we let him go on a free transfer next year. Full value for the goalkeeper, I think David De Gea is worth around £100 million. But obviously, we're not going to get £100 million because obviously he's in the final year of his contract. Obviously, Real Madrid have expressed their interest in David De Gea. They've been long admirers of him of Real Madrid, but I don't see Real Madrid getting De Gea, to be quite honest. They were on the brink of getting him in 2015, but due to a fax machine, the deal never materialised. I think it also says that Juventus have been interested in De Gea, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's working on trying to bring the right players to Manchester United this summer, who he thinks can elevate Manchester United forward, who he thinks are going to fit the culture and the history of the club. But he's also working on trying to keep his imperative players at the club. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how imperative David De Gea is. He's been a long servant. He's been at Manchester United 8 years. He has made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions. He's won everything here domestically. He's won the club's player of the year 4 times out of the last 6 years, of course. And he hasn't really done much on his 8-year period. I know he was making costly mistakes towards the back end of last season, but I think that was mainly to do with the contractual situation. So I do believe that David De Gea is leaving. And like I said, we're going to need a goalkeeper to replace David De Gea. If he does currently leave, I think we need to buy a goalkeeper to replace him. I don't think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans to buy a goalkeeper, to replace De Gea, because I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got trustworthy Romero, and I think he's willing to promote Sergio Romero as our number one goalkeeper. But like I said, I've got some reservations about this because I don't think Sergio Romero is yet reliable enough to become our number one goalkeeper. Obviously, we've got the likes of Dean Henderson, but I think Dean Henderson's too inexperienced at the moment, and I think Dean Henderson needs to gain a bit more experience. So I think we should orchestrate, loaning him out for another season. I know initially he has been on loan with Sheffield United, but Dean Henderson's only young. Obviously, we've got Lee Grant. Obviously, we got Lee Grant last summer, was it, from Stoke? Well, last summer, obviously, we didn't get his number one priority targets anyway, because obviously, reflecting back last summer under the Jose Mourinho era, obviously, the board weren't back in the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come in. So I think last summer we only got Diego Dalot, of course, who we paid £19 million, or was it about £19 million from Porto? Obviously, we paid around £47 million for Fred from Shakhtar Donetsk, and like I said, we got Lee Grant, and obviously, we didn't spend out in January, so this is why I said we've got to be competitive in this summer transfer window. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still believes we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. Obviously, we have been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years at least, and it has all gone wrong, since Alex Ferguson has retired. But like I said, I know we're a toxic club at the moment, but we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We've got a fantastic fan base, of course. We are the most successful club in England, historically and all that. We've won 13 Premier Leagues and all that, 20 all in all. So, historically, we are the best team in England. So maybe some players, are still keen on coming out to Manchester United, even though we haven't got Champions League football for next season. But Solskjaer was saying towards the back end of last season that he had been contacted by a number of agents, saying that their players do want to come to Manchester United. So, like I said, we have got Daniel James on the board, so that's a very, very good start indeed. So obviously now we do want to build on that, and I think that probably our second signing is probably going to be Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, it's very imminent that he's going to be leaving Sporting Lisbon, but reporting now, it does say Tottenham and Liverpool have entered the race for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, Tottenham have expressed their interest in Bruno Fernandes, but because obviously, Tottenham's priority target is Giovanni Lo Celso, but obviously he recently said that Tottenham had a bid turned down for Giovanni Lo Celso. I think Tottenham had put a bid in for him of around 52, was it £53 million? There was add-ons included, but I think this bid had been turned down by Real Betis. Like I said, from Giovanni Lo Celso's perspective, he does want to make the move over to Tottenham. Obviously, he's Tottenham's major priority target, but if Tottenham obviously can't get a deal over the line for him, they're obviously looking at the possibility of Bruno Fernandes. So I do believe that's Tottenham's alternative. But Giovanni Lo Celso, I think we've also been interested in him. I think his initial release clause is around £88 million. I think, if Real Betis were willing to sell him, they'd want around £70 or £80 million for him. He's 23 years of age, he's primarily a central midfielder. And obviously, Real Betis got him last summer from PSG. I think Real Betis, initially he was on loan, and then obviously, back in April, Real Betis made the deal permanent, of course. So I think he scored 16 goals in all competitions last season in the La Liga. So he has still got a lot of development in him. But obviously, if Real Betis do sell him, obviously, PSG are going to benefit from it, because obviously, PSG get a percentage of any sale. But Manchester United, have been in there. But I think Tottenham have emerged as the front runners to get the players' signature. Tottenham have been in negotiation with Real Betis over getting a deal concluded. but now obviously, they've had a bid turned down for Giovanni Lo Celso, so they are turning their attentions more on Bruno Fernandes. And some reports have speculated saying that Tottenham are now the favourites to currently land Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, Tottenham can offer him Champions League football. Obviously, we can't offer Bruno Fernandes Champions League football, but I still believe, I think it's, some of what it's saying, some of it probably isn't true, saying, Tottenham are close to signing him and all that. I still believe we are probably, emerged the front runners to get the player's signature. It also says that Liverpool are in there for Bruno Fernandes, and I do think it probably would fit Liverpool's system, really, really well. It does say that, we have scheduled a meeting with Sporting Lisbon for next week, to get a deal finalised. I've just read a report about Bruno Fernandes. It did say his current agent is set to fly out to London sometime this weekend, to hold further more talks. So there's quite a few teams in there for him. Initially, it was Manchester United and Manchester City that have obviously been battling out for Bruno Fernandes' services. But recent reports have said from the Ebola, the Portuguese press, they've said now that City are no longer interested and they have pulled out of the race, because I think we are willing, to pay up to around £70 million. I think this is what Sporting Lisbon want for Bruno Fernandes, and so we are willing to pay around 70, or is it £71 million? So we do want to get a deal finalised sometime next week. And initially we wanted it fully finalised this week, but I think we have scheduled the meeting for next week. But I think Bruno Fernandes would be fantastic for us. He's only 24 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him, and and he's done well in his couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon. He's exceeded expectation levels, and I do believe he can replicate this in the Premier League. And obviously Bruno Fernandes is going to want to take his footballing career to the next level. He is under contract with Sporting Lisbon till 2023, but looking at it from a financial point of view and from Sporting Lisbon's perspective, they're going to make a huge profit on the player, because Sporting Lisbon got him really for next to no, from San Pandora back in 2017. I think Sporting Lisbon paid around, was it £7 or £8 million for his services, so I think we're set to get him in a deal worth around £70 million. But obviously, he had a lot of experience of playing in Italy when he was younger anyway, with the likes of San Pandora and underneath. So basically, he's developing, really, really well. He is primarily an attacking midfielder. So if Paul Pogba was to leave Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes, would be the good adequate replacement. So I still believe we are going to get a deal over the line for him. But now, like I said, Tottenham are now in there for him. They're seeing him as an alternative to Giovanni Lo Celso. But like I said, Tottenham have got quite a few midfielders on their agenda, because obviously, Christian Eriksen could be leaving Tottenham. He could be going to Real Madrid, and obviously, Tottenham are going to want a replacement for him. And like I said, Tottenham haven't done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows. Obviously, the last player they signed was Lucas Moura back in January 2018, so they haven't done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows. So obviously, Mauricio Pochettino is going to want back in this summer. Obviously, he did say, was it before the Champions League final, if he isn't back this summer, he has threatened to resign as Tottenham manager, of course. So if Tottenham want to be up there, winning trophies and all that, or competing, they want to be, they want to get at least a couple of players on the board. So so Tottenham have got quite a few players on their agenda, but I still believe we are going to get a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. And Bruno Fernandes came out with an update on his future, the other week. He basically said he's unsure about his future and all that, and he did basically say he's had a good couple of years with Sporting Lisbon. He doesn't know if he's going to be spending the third year. He did deny having any negotiations with Manchester United over a potential move to Old Trafford, but he has been on our agenda for quite some time, and he's actually been one of our major priority targets. So basically, that midfield area is one of the pivotal areas where we've got to strengthen up, because like I said, if Pogba believes, we're going to need 3 new additions in that midfield. We need a replacement for Herrera. I do believe we need a holding midfielder. That's very, very essential indeed, of course. And obviously, as I've been updating you as well in regards to Wan-Bissaka from Crystal Palace. Now, he's one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. Obviously, he's a right back, and obviously, we do need right back, because we know Valencia is leaving the club. Obviously, he's obviously after serving 10 years with Manchester United, and he has been a really, really good servant to the club. I think it remains uncertain where his next destination is going to be. Recent reports have said that he could be going to the MLS. Could Antonio Valencia actually, but we're going to need a replacement for him. We need an upgrade to Ash Young, because Ash Young has no longer got the abilities to fulfill that right back position, even though he was our first choice right back last season. And I think it was a bad mistake for Manchester United, giving Ash Young that new 1 year extension. Of course, Ash Young's been a long serving player. He's been here 8 years. He has now passed his sell by date. How old is he? 33, nearly 34 years of age. And so we definitely need an upgrade to him, and we need a cover up for Diego Dalot, and that's very, very essential indeed. So I really, really like Wan-Bissaka. Reports came out the other week saying that Crystal Palace were demanding the money around 60 or 70 million pounds for Wan-Bissaka. Now, whether Manchester United will be willing to pay this or not, I do not know, because obviously now there's been talks of Thomas Meunier going on recently, and obviously, you know, Thomas Meunier is a much cheaper alternative than Wan-Bissaka, and he's going to substantially cost us a lot less than Wan-Bissaka. But I still really like Wan-Bissaka a lot. You know, he's 21, he's British, he's got a hell of a lot of development minimum. I think it came out the other week saying that we had submitted a bid of around £25 million, but obviously, you know, this figure's going to be nowhere near enough to convince Crystal Palace to let him go. Obviously, if Wan-Bissaka doesn't leave Crystal Palace this summer, obviously at some point in his career anywhere, he's going to want to take his footballing career to the next level. But I do believe he's got the abilities, you know, to elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years. If he was to come in, I think his defensive capabilities are very, very good. But so far, he has spent the entirety of his career with Crystal Palace. Of course, he's Premier League proven. He's only been in the senior squad with them about 15 or 16 months. Obviously, you know, made his senior debut in February of last year. You know, Wan-Bissaka, so he has become an integral part of Crystal Palace's squad. Like I said, when he was younger, I think he initially was a winner, but as he was developing in that, he got rotated as a right back. And I think Wan-Bissaka is regarded as one of the best right backs in the Premier League. You know, he has got 3 years left on his contract, so he is one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime tags. So hopefully, you know, he can come in. Like I said, I really, really hope he can come in. But we do know there's been a lot of talks about Thomas Meunier going on. Obviously, good news has been coming out about you know, Thomas Meunier, you know, quite recently, saying that from his own perspective, he wants to make the move to Manchester United, because we do know it has been Manchester United and Arsenal that have been battling out for his services, as you all know. But I think from his own perspective, he wants to make the move to Manchester United, does Thomas Meunier. Obviously, it's imminent that he's going to be leaving PSG. Reportedly, I think PSG did say they want from between 22 to 25 million pounds for his services, of course. And yeah, so he's going to be leaving PSG. Only got a year left on his deal, of course. But I think it got revealed that Thomas Meunier has been a Manchester United fan, you know, since he was a child, of course. And I really, really like him. He's predominantly a right back, can also play in other positions, and he can also score. He can also score goals. He can provide. So I think he would be absolutely, you know, the right solution for Manchester United. He's 27 years of age, so he has still got a hell of a lot of development in him. And I think for PSG, he's made just over a century appearances. I think PSG paid around £5 million for him from Club Brugge back in 2016. So it does say Manchester United have made initial contact. It also says that Arsenal have made initial contact. Because obviously, you know, we've got defensive issues. Arsenal have got defensive issues, of course. So, and obviously, you know, it's going to also be hard for Arsenal to have a competitive window this summer, because they're not in Champions League football for next season. Obviously, back in January, you know, they would only restricted to loan signings. So, like I said, you know, Arsenal have also inquired about his services. Maybe Umar is keen on reuniting with Thomas Meunier, because Meunier actually found himself more of a regular starter for PSG when Umar is there. So basically, you know, Thomas Meunier, you know, flourished under Umar's guidance. But like I said, since Umar left PSG, Thomas Meunier has found himself service to requirements, and this is the main factor reason why he's obviously, you know, set to leave PSG. But I do think he'd be a great addition to the squad at Manchester United, and I do believe he's got all the attributes to definitely come and succeed in the Premier League without a shadow of a doubt. But he is a much cheaper alternative, is Meunier, than Wan-Bissaka, and obviously a lot more experience, because obviously Meunier is about 6 years older than Wan-Bissaka. But I still believe that Wan-Bissaka is on our agenda, of course. Obviously, as I've been updating you regularly as well about Matthijs de Ligt for Mike's. Obviously, you know, he's one of our priority targets, and hopefully, you know, we can get a deal over the line for Matthijs de Ligt. But to be quite honest with you now, I don't really see it happening, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, because I think from Matthijs de Ligt's perspective, I think he wants to join a club that can offer him Champions League football, and obviously, you know, Manchester United can't offer him Champions League football for next season, because we're not in the Champions League. So we're not in the Champions League, so we can't offer him Champions League football for next season. And yeah, so there's been so many teams that have inquired about his services. Obviously, in terms of the transfer fees, he's going to cost you from between 70 to 75 million pounds, because that's what initially, you know, Matthijs de Ligt is rated at. But I think it did say today in the Manchester Evening News, as I updated you early on, saying that Manchester United basically, you know, need to offer him, you know, make an offer that is obviously, you know, that can't be refused. So basically, we've got to make an offer that can't be refused from him if we've got any chances of getting Matthijs de Ligt. But like I say, I think now the two teams that are in the ascendancy of getting him are Barcelona or PSG. So I think it's there. His likely destinations are Barcelona and currently PSG. But we do know, at least in the last couple of months anyway, that Barcelona have been in the ascendancy, of getting the players' signature, of course. Even though it did come out the other week saying that talks had stalled, between Matthias de Ligt and Barcelona, because obviously, it was reflecting on the financial demands, basically. Barcelona, Barcelona were not willing to meet, what Matthias de Ligt was demanding, what his agent Raiola and that was demanding, and this is the main factor reason why the talks had currently stalled. But some reports were basically saying, that Matthias de Ligt to Barcelona is a done deal, and all that, the fee had been agreed, but obviously, they were struggling to come to an agreement on the terms. So potentially, I don't think yet Matthias de Ligt has made a decision on his future. He's aware of the speculation and all that, but it is looking very imminent. He's going to be leaving. I expect remains uncertain where he will be applying his trade next season. So so he has not made a decision on his future. I think he's set to make a decision sometime on his future next week. Of course, he will probably know sometime next week. Obviously, I think he told Manchester United, or he was set to tell Manchester United earlier on this week. Well, it was said earlier on this week he was set to inform Manchester United about a decision on his current future, of course. But I'd love him, I'd love Matthias to let at Manchester United. We can definitely, show him first team football. Obviously, we can't obviously offer him Champions League football, but we could have shown him first team football. And I do believe first team football would be much easier for him at Manchester United than it would be for him, of course, at Barcelona. Obviously, Barcelona have already got a deal over the line for his current teammate, Frankie de Jong. Obviously, Barcelona paid around £65 million for his services, so I think probably his likely destination is going to probably be Barcelona. Obviously, it came out from Sky Sports the other week saying that he was set to join Barcelona. Was Matthias de Ligt. So I think we are actually now set to miss out on Matthias de Ligt, even though it did reportedly say we were willing to offer him a contract, worth up to £350,000 a week. Obviously, this equates to almost £17 million a year. It does also say Liverpool are still in there for him. I think Matthias de Ligt's agent Raiola, he basically wants his client to join Liverpool, according to what recent reports suggested out anywhere. I think the main factor reason why Liverpool have expressed their interest, because obviously Liverpool have got Virgil van Dijk, and Virgil van Dijk and Matthias de Ligt know each other really, really well, and Liverpool know how much how good they would be in their squad, of course, and they both play for the Netherlands national team. So this is the main factor reason why Liverpool have been interested in him, of course. There's a possibility chance that he could end up going to Liverpool, but I think he'll either go to Barcelona or PSG myself. Obviously, Manchester City have expressed their interest. Obviously, City are looking for a replacement for Vincent Kompany. Recently said Bayern Munich were in there for him, but I think Bayern Munich have opted out of the race. Obviously, Juventus are also, in there for him. It came out a couple of days ago saying that Juventus, offered around £75 million. But yeah, I really, really like Matthias de Ligt. He's very young. He's 19 years of age so far. He has spent the entirety of his career with Ajax, but it still remains uncertain where he will be applying his trade next season. Obviously, we need to get two central defenders in without a shadow of a doubt. Last season we conceded 54 goals in the Premier League, so that just emphasises how the issues we have got defensively. So I think we need two central defenders, because as I said, the likes of Smalling and Jones are not good enough. Smalling's been here 9 years, Jones has been here 8 years. Of course, they have been two long-serving players at the club, and don't get me wrong, they have demonstrated throughout the years they have been here that they can play well and that they can hold the line. But like I said, they're not good enough now. They're too inconsistent. It was a bad mistake from us, giving them two players long-term contracts, of course. So I think we need two central defenders. We've got Eric Bailly, but like I said, based on Eric Bailly's fallout under managers and his injuries he has sustained, it's had a really bad effect on his career. And Eric Bailly doesn't even initially get in the team now. I probably think Eric Bailly will be here next season, but I think it would be beneficial if we did sell Eric Bailly. I think we'd be looking to recoup the initial £30 million that we did pay for him from Villarreal back in 2016. But when Eric Bailly first came into the Premier League, he burst into the scenes really, really well. But like I said, he's now served his two requirements at Manchester United. And I think we should orchestrate getting rid of him. Of course, reports came out a while back saying that Arsenal had expressed their interest in Eric Bailly, but for me, too injury prone now. So I think we need to consider getting rid of him, make a bit more room in that central defensive area. I think it's looking very imminent that Rojo and Darmian should be leaving Manchester United. An estimated guess we can get around 25 or 30 million pounds for Matteo Darmian and Rojo, so they also should be going. Obviously, as I've been updating you in the last couple of days, at least in regards to Ryan Sessegnon from Fulham. Obviously, it does say we've expressed our interest in Ryan Sessegnon. I think we've inquired about his services a couple of times in the past, but I think Tottenham are considered to be the favourites to get the player's signature, even though the actual fee, could be the stumbling block in all this, because reportedly Fulham said they want around £45 million. Tottenham are only willing to pay up to £25 million for him, so the fee, could be the stumbling block in this. But Ryan Sessegnon, is really good. He's only young. He's 19 years of age, but I think from Ryan Sessegnon's perspective, he wants to make the move to Tottenham. He's told Fulham he wants to leave. He's told Fulham he's not going to be renewing his contract, because I think Fulham have been in talks of trying to get him a new contract. Obviously, he has refused this, but he's only got a year left on his deal with Fulham. Ryan Sessegnon has obviously had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League. Obviously, the Championship the season before, but obviously Ryan Sessegnon is reluctant to spend another season in the Championship, and obviously Fulham are in the Championship next season. Obviously, after getting relegated from the Premier League after only one season in the top flight, so maybe Ryan Sessegnon wants to take his footballing career to the next level, because he wants to play under Mauricio Pochettino, because he feels as though he will thrive under Mauricio Pochettino will Ryan Sessegnon. So reportedly Fulham want around £45 million. So it came out about 2 or 3 weeks ago, saying that we were the only club that had made initial contact with Fulham over the potential move for Ryan Sessegnon. But Ryan Sessegnon's a left back. He can also play as a left winger. I think now he's actually primarily a left winger. Is Ryan Sessegnon. I think he's made over a century of senior appearances. Since he broke into Fulham's senior squad. I think he made his senior debut. Was it at the age of 16? So he's been in their senior squad about 3 years now. As Ryan Sessegnon, and he has he has become an integral part of Fulham's squad. Also became the first player to be born in the 2000s. To score a goal in the first team game. So his statistics are very impressive. But I don't think he'll come to Manchester United, because I think we're okay on that left hand side anyway. Like I said, we've just got Daniel James in. He's primarily a winner is Daniel James, but he's supposed to be more effective from that left hand side. So I do presume that's where Manchester United will put him. And obviously left back, I think we're okay at left back. I don't think we need one. We've got Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's very reliable. Hasn't really done much wrong as a Manchester United player, and obviously he's our first choice left back. He has sustained quite a few injuries, since he's become a Manchester United player, but he hasn't really done much wrong. So I think we're okay on that left hand side, because that's where the majority of our attack is coming from. And obviously, as I've been, giving you an update on a regular basis as well. Who is it now about James Maddison from Leicester? Obviously, he's been spoken about. Recent reports have said that James Maddison, actually, wants to stay at Leicester. Despite that, there's been a lot of speculation going on about him, but reportedly he wants to stay at Leicester. Even though it did come out a couple of days ago, saying that we'd inquired about his services. It did say we emerged him as a priority target. He said we made initial contact, with James Maddison and his representatives over the potential move to Old Trafford. It did initially say that Leicester wanted around 60. It did initially say that Leicester wanted around £60 million, and I think Manchester United, would be more than happy, to pay that, £60 million. What Leicester are currently demanding for him. But I really like James Maddison a lot. 22 years of age. He's British. He's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. But I think at some point in James Maddison's career, he'll want to take his footballing career to the next level. But obviously, he's had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League. Last season was involved in 14 goals. Obviously, created more chances than any other player. I think. Also, the likes of City, Liverpool and Tottenham have expressed their interest in, but I think they've all been linked to him for a number of years now, because I think they've been tracking him, since he was a teenager at Coventry. Leicester got him from Norwich last summer for around £20 million. He signed a 5-year deal with Leicester, so he is under contract with them until 2023, is James Maddison. So I do really like him indeed, and I think, he'd fit the Manchester United agenda really really He did say he has got some reservations about joining Manchester United, because obviously we're not in a Champions League football for next season, but I do believe if he came to Manchester United, he would be a great addition to the squad. But reportedly now he wants to stay with Leicester. And it didn't literally say, we were merged as the front runners to get the player's signature. That is what it basically said. And obviously as well, as I updated you earlier on in regards of what's going on with Paul Pogba and all that. Obviously, he's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Probably Paul Pogba's first choice preference is Real Madrid, because obviously, he has been on Real Madrid's agenda for quite some time. But as you all know, reports have been coming out this week saying that Juventus are interested in re-signing Paul Pogba. It didn't just say, today, Juventus have made initial contact with Manchester United. Juventus have also been in negotiations with his agent Raiola. But like I said, no formal bid has been put in as yet from Juventus or out. But I think Juventus would have to offload a couple of their essential players to fund the move for Paul Pogba, because I don't think Juventus are going to be able to afford him, outright. So they would have to offload a couple of their essential players as part of the deal. But I think from Paul Pogba's perspective, I think his preferred destination is Real Madrid. So if he does leave Manchester United, I think he will end up, making the move to Real Madrid. But obviously, Real Madrid are not keen on a straight cash payment and all that. So obviously, they've orchestrated some out. Reports have been coming out saying that Real Madrid are reportedly, willing to offer Gareth Bale in a transfer offer for Paul Pogba. And some people think, this would be beneficial for us. Some people think, this would be good for Manchester United. But for me, from my perspective, I don't think it would be any good for us, because I think Paul Pogba is still a very imperative player for Manchester United. Even though he hasn't really, been the fundamental player, he hasn't really exceeded expectation levels as we all thought. He wouldn't, reflecting back what he did in his 4 years in Turin with Juventus, and he hasn't, he was good in his 4 years, with Juventus, but he hasn't replicated his form since he's come back to Manchester United. And obviously, as you all know as well, I've got strong reservations about Gareth Bale, so I wouldn't want to see Gareth Bale as part of the deal with Paul Pogba. I know that Real Madrid want to get rid of Gareth Bale, because obviously Zinedine Zidane has confirmed that Gareth Bale is no longer part of his plans with Real Madrid. Zinedine Zidane's declared that Gareth Bale has no future at Real Madrid, even though from Gareth Bale's perspective, he wants to stay with Real Madrid. He's got no intentions of leaving as Gareth Bale, but I don't want him at Manchester United. I know the rumours have continued to persist, linking him with a move to Old Trafford since 2013. So basically, we've heard the rumours since the David Moyes era. If you'd have asked me a couple of years ago, I probably would have took Gareth Bale at Manchester United. But like I said, he's been so inconsistent in his last couple of seasons. He's too injury prone and all that. Plus, he's aging up. He's 29. I think he's 30 next month, and he has still got 3 years left on his contract with Real Madrid. But obviously, it was Bale's job last season to step up to the plate for Real Madrid, because obviously, Real Madrid lost Cristiano Ronaldo last summer after serving 9 years at the Bernabeu. Obviously, Juventus got him on the board, so obviously Real Madrid didn't find a replacement for him, so Bale had to step up to the plate. But Bale didn't currently do this. Bale can play on the left. Also, Gareth Bale can play him on the right. And I know, he had a lot of experience of playing in the Premier League. He had a lot of experience of playing in the Premier League, when he was younger, because he did have 6 great years with Tottenham. I think he was also injury prone at Tottenham, but I don't want Bale now at Manchester United. And maybe another Manchester United fan may tell you different to me. This is just my perspective on the whole situation. Like I said, some Manchester United fans will be happy if Paul Pogba goes. Some Manchester United fans, won't be happy if Paul Pogba goes. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing everything he can, to try and convince him to remain at the football club. Obviously, it came out the other week saying that Solskjaer was willing to offer him the captaincy in a bid to convince him to stay at Manchester United, but obviously we know that's not going to be enough. I think a couple of the main factor reasons why Paul Pogba may want to leave Manchester United, because maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players, maybe he wants to be in Champions League football, wants to be winning trophies and all that, and obviously he's not experiencing this at Manchester United, so maybe they're the couple of main factor reasons why he wants to leave. Obviously, Paul Pogba's 26, he's still in his prime, and he has still got a hell of a lot of development minimum, of course, and he's arguably, still one of the best midfielders in world football, is Pogba. And we did see the glimpses of his best form, in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first 3 months as interim manager, and we mainly saw the glimpses of his best form when Ander Herrera was playing. So that just emphasises how much of an impact, Ander Herrera, made in that midfield for us, because he freed up Pogba. Pogba was in absolutely scintillating form in that 3-month period. But we do know, was it last year, that he was linked to a move away from Manchester United, so he was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation last year, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, he got his best wishes when Jose Mourinho got sacked from the club, but last year he was linked with Barcelona. I think he was also linked with Barcelona back in January. I think also he was also linked to his former club Juventus. Last year was Paul Pogba, of course. But yeah, he was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. But like I said, he's got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. But we do know, at least in the last 5 or 6 weeks, that Paul Pogba's agent Raiola has been in the process of finding him a new club. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player he is. But Zinedine Zidane's got a lot of players on his agenda this summer. But obviously, his 2 main targets, of course, are Paul Pogba and Chelsea Eden Hazard. Obviously, Real Madrid have obviously got a deal over the line now for Eden Hazard, so they are going to focus on getting a deal over the line for Paul Pogba. Initially, he said we want around 150 or 160 million pounds for him, and obviously, Real Madrid are reluctant to pay up to the 150 or the 160 million pounds for Paul Pogba. I think it did say Juventus are anywhere willing to offer a couple of their players, you know, to try and lure Paul Pogba away from Man United. It did say one of the players they are willing to offer is Paulo Dybala. Of course, obviously, you know, Paulo Dybala has been on our agenda for some time. Like I said, I've got some reservations about Paulo Dybala, but he's, 25, 26 years of age, so he's in his prime. He has still got a lot of development in him. Obviously, hasn't played in the Premier League yet. He's served 4 years at Juventus, and he has demonstrated in that 4-year period that he can play well, he can lead the lines, you know, and he can score goals. And if he was to come to Manchester United and score them goals whilst he was adapting other areas of his game, you know, that would be good enough. Paul Dybala's agent and brother came out a while back saying that, you know, they suggested that Paul Dybala, you know, could leave Juventus this summer, because I think he's initially surplus to requirements now at Juventus, because obviously since the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo last summer at Juventus, you know, Paul Dybala has found game time very, very difficult. You know, he's been in and out of the squad. But yeah, so basically, you know, Paul Dybala has been on Manchester United's agenda. But like I said, I've got some reservations about him. You know, some of his touches and that concern me. He's not really good in the air. He's, you know, not really good at tracking back. So if he was to join Manchester United, you know, I would be pretty concerned, you know, to be quite honest with you. I would be pretty concerned. But it did initially say in the media a while back that we've been in talks with Juventus for like over a month for the potential move for Paulo Dybala. But that's one of the players reportedly Juventus are willing to offer Manchester United for Paul Pogba. So yeah, that's the latest news about Pogba. But like I said, if we cash in for Pogba, you know, if we cash in for Lukaku and all that, you know, there's a possibility chance they could remain at the football club, you know, based on the huge transfer fees that we have put on them. But if we cash in for them, that's probably around £200 million there. And I do believe it will help us with our transition. It will help us with our rebuilding process. So £200 million, obviously it's going to amount up to a lot more than that if we sanction Pogba and Lukaku off and De Gea as well. And it's looking likely De Gea is going to be leaving. So with the Lukaku situation, obviously, you know, we want around £80 million for him now. Inter Milan are reluctant, you know, to pay up to £80 million for Romelu Lukaku. Now, obviously, you know, Antonio Conte got appointed as Inter Milan's new manager last week, and obviously he's identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. But obviously, you know, the Lukaku's proposed move to Inter Milan, could be a stumbling block, you know, based on the huge transfer fee that we have put on him. Also, reportedly, Lukaku's move to Inter Milan also could be under threat, you know, due to the financial fair play rules. Like I updated you the other week, Inter Milan need to raise around £40 million before the 30th of June, you know, to meet financial fair play regulations. So this also could be another stumbling block of Lukaku making his move to Inter Milan. So we said we want £80 million. Maybe we still think he's worth between £70 to £80 million, you know, because we're looking at his age and that, you know, he's 26, he's in his prime, he's still got a hell of a lot of development minimum, of course. But Inter Milan, you know, will not pay £80 million for Romelu Lukaku. So basically, you know, we're looking to recoup the majority of the money that we paid for him from Everton back in 2017, because obviously, you know, we paid initially £75 million. You know, there was obviously several add-ons included in the deal of £15 million. So initially, you know, risen the deal to £90 million. He's got 3 years left on his contract. Lukaku's on about, £250,000 a week with Manchester United. Yeah, he is on about £250,000 a week with us. But he did say initially, you know, everything else had been agreed. You know, it said Inter Milan, you know, had agreed the personal terms. It said this the other week. He said Inter Milan had agreed a 5-year deal with Romelu Lukaku. I think worth around £7.5 million a year. Bonus requirements involved, I think. It also said Inter Milan were willing to meet his wage demands. It even said Lukaku was willing to take a pay cut and all that. But obviously, you know, they haven't come to an agreement on the initial fee. But I think Romelu Lukaku is one of the problematic players at Manchester United, and we've got to get rid of him, because obviously Manchester United can no longer assure him first team football. And obviously, you know, that was proven throughout the course of Lukaku's second season at the club, because obviously he was surplus to requirements. We know mainly Rashford was first choice ahead of him. You know, don't get me wrong, Lukaku did well in his first season with the club. I think he scored like 27 goals in all competitions, but he didn't replicate that in his second season. I think he's across 2 seasons for Manchester United, he scored about 42 goals in like 96 games or something like that. But yeah, we have definitely, you know, got to get rid of him. And I think, you know, his ratio is still very good in the Premier League. He's scored a lot of goals in the Premier League. You know, his pedigree is very, very good in the Premier League. But as you all know, I've got reservations about him. You know, his first touch concerns me. He's not good in the air. He's too slow. He's a big game bottler. His footballing ability, his endless potential. You know, they're all the reservations I've got about Romelu Lukaku. So I think we, you know, potentially, you know, need to sell him, and it will be very, very beneficial. But I think from Lukaku's perspective, he wants to make the move to Italy, because he was talking about his dream of playing in the Serie A a while back. And, Manchester United told him last week, that he can, leave the club and all that. SOlSJAKER has told him that he's surplus to requirements. But yeah, there's a possibility chance he could remain at the football club now, based on the huge transfer fee that we have currently put on him. So yeah, Inter Milan have been heavily linked with Lukaku. And obviously, as I've been updating you today as well about Antoine Griezmann from Atletico Madrid. Now, it does say, obviously, Manchester United are in there for him. From my perspective, I don't see Griezmann coming to Manchester United, even though it came out, was it a week or two back, saying that, we made initial contact with Antoine Griezmann over the potential move to Old Trafford. But obviously, we know that Griezmann had made an admission. Obviously, this came a couple of weeks back, saying that obviously, he's going to be he said he's going to be leaving Atletico Madrid. So we do know he's leaving Atletico Madrid, but it remains uncertain where he will be applying his trade next season. And obviously, when he did say he was going to be leaving, it looks very, very imminent. He was set to join Barcelona. But obviously, there's been a change of scenery now, because reportedly Barcelona are stalling on their move for Griezmann. Of course, as well, Barcelona are having second thoughts on getting Antoine Griezmann, and I don't think Barcelona want Antoine Griezmann. I think Griezmann has become increasingly frustrated about this. And I think, Atletico Madrid have basically, come out and said, he's been a great servant to the club as Griezmann. They've got a good relationship and all that, and they're hoping the best for the future. But Atletico Madrid have said they don't know where Griezmann is currently, going to be going. So it does say, Manchester United are in there. Barcelona have not made any initial contact, with Griezmann over the potential move. They've not put any kind of formal bidding out for him. So I just don't think Barcelona are no longer interested in Antoine Griezmann. So it does say now anyway Manchester United are in there for him. Obviously, we was on the verge of getting him a couple of years ago, but obviously, due to the transfer ban Atletico Madrid got, his move to Manchester United never materialised. Griezmann's release clause is at the moment £171 million. It's something like that anywhere. At the beginning of next month, his release clause does reduce to around 104 or £105 million. So obviously, you're going to have to pay over £100 million for Griezmann. Like I said, I wouldn't be keen on us paying over £100 million for Griezmann, because like I said, I'd rather spend that money on. I'd rather spend that £100 million on Joe Felix from Benfica, because obviously he's been one of our targets, and obviously Joe Felix is a lot younger than Griezmann. He's about 9 or 10 years younger. Joe Felix has got a lot more development in him. Don't get me wrong, Griezmann's still got quite a bit of development in him, and I do believe Griezmann's still got 3 or 4 years left in him. But like I said, he's not the Galactico player as I thought he was a couple of years ago, Griezmann, but he can still score goals and all that. He was actually on the verge of joining Barcelona last summer, was Griezmann, but he actually signed a new long-term contract with Atletico Madrid, so he's under contract with them now until 2023. He has spent the entirety of his career in Spain. Obviously, I think he's been at Atletico Madrid 5 seasons. I think he scored 133 goals in 257 games in all competitions, so he has done really, really well for Atletico Madrid. But maybe Griezmann wants to take his footballing career to the next level, because I think the only major honour he has won was the Europa League last season with Atletico Madrid. Before he was at Atletico Madrid, of course, he was at Real SOlSJAKER. So, like I said, he's spent the entirety of his career in Spain, but I wouldn't be keen on us, spending over £100 million on him. So, Atletico Madrid have confirmed that Barcelona have not made any initial contacts over the potential move for him out. They've obviously, hoping the best for the future. They said he's been a good servant, they've got a good relationship and all that, but the Atletico Madrid don't know where Griezmann is currently going, so we don't know where his next current destination is going to be. But talking about Joe Felix, like I said, it's Manchester United and Manchester City that are battling out for him, and I like Joe Felix a lot. He's only 19 years of age. Obviously, I've still got him a lot of years ahead of him, and like I said about Joe Felix, I think he can emulate into one of the best players in the world. Maybe not emulating to Ronaldo or Neymar or Messi, but I still believe he can emulate into one of the best. Last season was only his first season in the senior squad, with Benfica, but he didn't half make a meal of it. Very, very good player, and obviously he's not yet made his senior debut of Portugal, but Manchester United have been scouting him, since I think January. He's been on Manchester City's agenda for quite some time. I think also Real Madrid have been in there. Real Madrid have been in there, like I said. Liverpool inquired about his services, back in the January transfer window. So he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. I think from Joe Felix's perspective, he's unsure about his future at the moment. I think if Benfica are willing to sell Joe Felix, they've blatantly made it clear that his buyout clause has to be triggered, and his buyout clause is around £105 million. But I think he did say Man United and Manchester City are willing to trigger his his buyout clause. You know, he is primarily an attacking midfielder. He can also play as a winger, a striker, and a secondary striker. So very, very versatile indeed. So Man United and Manchester City are still in for João Felix. Like I said, I think we need a defensive midfielder as well. That's very, very essential. We need a centre defensive midfielder because I said Nemanja Matic is too... Nemanja Matic, you know, is too slow. He's aging up and all that, and he's too ineffective and in that midfield. Like I said, Fellaini left back in January. Obviously we've got McTominay, but McTominay's too inexperienced at the moment. I know he demonstrated himself towards the back end of last season, did McTominay, but like I said, he's too inexperienced. So there's been quite a few holding midfielders on our agenda. There's been talks of West Ham's Declan Rice, well Premier League proven, and this year I learned his trade in the Premier League, and I think he's exceeded expectation levels of West Ham really, really well. I don't think in this year West Ham, you know, wants to sell him because I think West Ham know how much of an essential player he is to them. Only 20 years of age, and he has been one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. Obviously, you know, he's primarily defensive midfielder, can also play as a central defender. So obviously, you know, he's been spoken about. Thomas Partey, the reports coming out about him the other week saying that Manchester United and Arsenal have inquired about his services. He's a central defensive midfielder. I think it came out, was it the other day, saying that he wants to make the move to England, and obviously, you know, this was stemming from his dad. His dad basically said that Thomas Partey wants to move to England. He's 25 years of age. He's available for a reasonable figure because his release clause is around £43 million. His release clause is around £43 million. In his contract with Atletico Madrid, and he has spent the majority of his career with Atletico Madrid. So obviously, you know, there has been talks about him going on. So many players on Manchester United's agenda. So like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, now we've got Daniel James, and he wants to bring another 4 or 5 players in, of course. And like I said, none of this squad's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's because obviously he's inheriting 11 of Jose Mourinho's players. Obviously, you know, he's inheriting players even from Van Gaal, there's Matty from the David Moyes era. You know, there's still 4 or 5 players either from the Alex Ferguson era. So yeah, he's inheriting all them players. He's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And yeah, so as I did say, I think in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is going to be that top 4. You know, people have said if we get the right players to Man United this summer, they do believe we can, you know, be, you know, we can win the league next season. But it's not going to happen. You know, like I said, you know, at the moment, City is strides ahead of us. You know, Liverpool is strides ahead of us, and it's very imperative that we catch up with the likes of City and Liverpool. So very, very essential indeed. And I do believe probably City are going to spend this summer, even though they've spent a hell of a lot of money under Guardiola. Probably Liverpool are going to spend this summer, even though they had a good window last summer. Chelsea, I'm not too sure about them because they've got a transfer ban. Obviously, well, they will if they get the transfer ban overturned. Obviously, you know, they can, you know, buy players, but I don't know if they're going to get the transfer ban overturned. Obviously, now Chelsea are going to want a replacement for Eden Hazard, but if they don't get the transfer ban overturned, obviously they're not going to be able to find a replacement for him. And obviously, this is why Chelsea will be disappointed in losing him. And obviously, you know, Chelsea, well, one of Chelsea's best players anywhere was Eden Hazard, so they'll be disappointed that he's making the move to Real Madrid. And Arsenal, I probably think they'll spend this summer, but I think it's going to be hard for them to get their number 1 priority targets because they're not in Champions League football for next season. So I do believe our expectations going on into next season probably will be, you know, finishing the top 4, maybe in the Carabao Cup, maybe win the Europa League or something like that. But yeah, I think we're at least 3 or 4 years off from mounting any kind of title challenge up without a shadow of a doubt. But like I said, Solskjaer wants to bring now another probably 4 or 5 players in. We've got Daniel James on the board. Like I said, I think probably the next signing will be Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon. Maybe then the third could be Meunier, maybe Wan-Bissaka. I do not know, but I think the second one is probably, you know, going to be Bruno Fernandes. Even though reports have come out saying that Tottenham have entered the race, some reports have actually said that Tottenham now emerges as the front runners. You know, I was actually, you know, quite cynical about that, you know, to be quite honest, because, you know, some reports are now saying Tottenham emerges as the front runners. You know, some reports have been saying, you know, where emerges the front runners. So, you know, some of the reports, you know, some of the stories and that, you know, just, you know, just basically justify their existence and all that. So that's mainly everything to update you today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider a subscriber, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.